I'm ready to slash and burn.
No quarter. I am going to be uncomfortable and all over you from start to finish.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to BattleBots Breakdown. As it's been a little while, and I'm sure that Ashley and I are both very excited to talk about BattleBots again, even though it really hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a long time.
It definitely feels like a long time, and it's crazy to think that it's almost been like 1 year since we were in Vegas, so I'm definitely ready to talk about BattleBots again.
Yeah, yes, and true. Like the actual time of us being there, it's been a lot longer. And so, for those of us that know both of us, you have to understand as you see these things unfold, how difficult it was for both of us to not talk about this for like a year. So I'm excited to get to talk about it now. And real quick, I just want to touch on the fact that last weekend was the NHRL event, and I was so happy to get to see you again, and it was a great time. Our good friend Corey just blew up the competition. So it was pretty exciting, and I'm really looking forward to the next one.
I know. I'm so proud of you and everything you accomplished. It was so cool to see you actually fight your own robot. So big shout out to Corey and everybody that helped you along the way. But it was so good to see you. I'm so proud of you, and I cannot wait to see what's next.
Yes, there will be more apples to come.
Definitely.
I feel like I'm like following JMO and Aaron's whole deal of like these ham robots. Now I'm just gonna have to have a fleet of Apple robots. So
I'm with it.
So this episode, I'm sure it's no secret to anyone how excited you were to watch this. I mean, myself as well, as we are both very much big time Shreddit Bro stands. So
yes, all day long. It was really hard for like a year to keep this one under my belt. Like, just wait, guys. Just wait. Like, it's coming. It's coming. So, like, it's finally here, and we can finally talk about it. And let's go.
Yes, the number of times during the regular season with the fight nights where I would see people posting smack about Shreddit Bro, and in my mind, I'm just like, this isn't going to age well.
Nope, not at all.
So yeah, now it's finally like, yes, for those of us that believed in the bro the entire time, this was kind of the culmination of all of that. So I mean, I'll admit that if I knew nothing about this and I wasn't there and I didn't know the result, I would be like, I'm not sure that I would have thought that they could do that. Not that they wouldn't be able to win a match at all, but I mean, just to run the gauntlet was extremely impressive. So, I think getting the robot working and working the way that it's supposed to is half the battle. I think we saw that very much with Huge over the course of the main season. So, like, people don't understand the complexities of dealing with these combat robots. I mean, I know some of the things that I observed just at the 3-pound level, so I can only imagine with the 250-pound how challenging that is to make sure that everything is dialed in properly.
Yeah, they were, and Shreddit Bro was running a brand new VESC system. So during the main tournament, it was a struggle for them. They definitely had points where it was not dialed in, and then that switch flip, they got those settings right. They figured out exactly what they needed to make that drum spin as fast and as hard and as long as possible. And you just see it in this match and like all of these matches in this whole episode. And it's just like the amount of pride and like how proud I am for them, like, is just so ridiculous. And like, I'm so glad that after everything they went through, like, that this is what they were able to show out on.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, when you look at the way that this bracket went, I mean, the first match for them was definitely like no joke going against Scorpios. Because I mean, like Zach and Diana put a lot of work into that robot. You know, they definitely had a mixed, you know, main season and stuff like that. Probably didn't go exactly the way that they wanted it to, but you know, it's still a very good robot. And yes, I mean, I think most of my audience knows my child. So if you can see her there in the background, special appearance by Liv in this episode. So I think the one thing that was really surprising for me in this fight is just how much Shreddit Bro dominated Scorpios. I mean, I think I expected it to be a lot more close, and I don't think that's any like bad thing on Zach and Diana's part. I think it's just Shreddit Bro was so dialed in for that match that there was not a lot that they could do against Evan.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny. Like Ed and I were in the stands in this match together. So like we were both like, wow, like it's like hard to watch because like Zach and Diana are like a big fan favorite. And like obviously there's so many people out there that like love Evan so much. And so it's like, all right, it tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. And then you just like watch Evan just completely dominate. And you're like, okay, yes, yes. So we were like in the stands going nuts. The people next to us were like, you're like really invested in this match. And we're like, no, like we know these people, like that's family, like that you don't understand. Like I'm just so excited that they showed the walkout because I'm in the stands and I get high fives and loves from Alex and Michael. So like, love you guys. I was like so glad that got shown. But yeah, this match was just so incredible in person. And like, I posted the picture on my Facebook story of me, Evan, and Alex. It was taken directly after this fight, and you can see in my face like how freaking like joyous and proud and like I'm just so excited. And I held on to that photo for months. And I was like so excited to finally see the match on TV. Like they're just incredible. I'm so proud.
Yes, and I did see you. I was sitting there watching it and I'm like, hey Liv, look, there's Ashley. So yeah, absolutely saw you in the stands, and it was great. You know, I wasn't there for that yet because, you know, as we know, you left and then I got there.
Terrible timing. We're not good players.
I know. But yeah, so it was definitely a good match. And I mean, hopefully like we see Zach and Diana come back next season with, you know, kind
Something.
of something, you know, something good. I mean, obviously we still want to see more Scorpios, but just I'm sure that they're going to work on it and, you know, try and figure out what happened and kind of do those like lessons in action and whatnot. So you know, going on from that to another, you know, fan favorite with Kraken versus Switchback, and I so badly wanted to see Kraken get a win. Like I love Matt and Sarah to pieces, and I love their robot so much. I mean, it's one of my favorite robot designs ever. But I mean, the Switchback team, they're super awesome, and I think that their design is so innovative, and to see something that they tried the year prior and it didn't really work out the way that they hoped, and see them iterate on that and come back with something that's way more durable and functional is great. You know, really happy for them to get that win. But yeah, just, you know, kind of sad for Kraken, because it's hard to make a decision to completely go with something different, and then to make that change and have it not work out is hard.
Absolutely. And like you never know what's going to happen. You know, people struggle with new designs and then they figure it out. And then you're like, all right, this is your last chance. And you're like, oh man, I wanted to see Kraken get the win too. Like I love Greg Minell, and like I love everything that they're doing with Switchback, and it's such a cool robot. I got to see it in the pits at BattleBots, so that was like really special. And I got to talk to James a little bit. Unfortunately, Greg wasn't around, but like it is such an innovative design, and everything that they've worked hard on on is like so cool to see it so effectively like move across the box and be able to deliver like those hits with like it's not a overly large size weapon, but it's a fast weapon and it is so powerful. And just to see it then cracking into the screws, you're like, all right, well, yay, but like, oh, that stinks. And then like, can you just leave Narwhal alone? Like, I'm sorry, Greg, but like, just leave the mini bots alone.
Yes, we have to save the mini bots. Per the commercial earlier in the season, they need our help and support too.
Or Narwhal.
Yes, I thought it was funny because we were watching that match and Liv was like, "No, Wally, I love Wally."
Same.
So yeah, I mean, like obviously, definitely well-deserved win for Switchback. And you know, moving on as we'll talk about soon with that next fight. But the one after that was Rotator versus Terror Tops, and I will admit, I really saw the match going a different way. And that's because I've seen what Terror Tops can do. I mean, granted, Rotator is obviously like one of the best bots from the beginning. I mean, they've been around for such a long time. Victor's done some really amazing things with that robot, obviously had some issues this season. And so for me, I was like, I'm not really sure because I mean, Terror Tops has looked really good. They didn't so much in this match. Rotator pretty much dominated the fight and knocked them around quite a bit. I mean, once they lost part of the drive, there wasn't a lot that they could do. But I will say, you know, as somebody who is a massive Terror Tops fan, I see them getting into the main thing for the next season, and I see them really doing some special stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a cool robot and it's just such a cool design and like to have the whole theme out and like to have all the rib cages and like it really stinks to watch Rotator just like slice into them, but it's such a cool design and they have had really like successes in some of their matches and so it was going to be a good matchup no matter what in my eyes and so it was nice to see Rotator dialed back into the Rotator that we're used to. Like, obviously, Victor definitely had issues in the main bracket. So, like, it's cool to see the transition into the Golden Bowl and really see, like, all of these robots like, really dialed in. You're like, all right, like, you worked out your bugs week one and, like, you are here to fight and you are going to, remind us all why you are who you are. And unfortunately, it was at the hands of Terror Tops, but I absolutely hope that they get into next season. It's such a cool, just like overall design and concept, and like they're such exciting people to watch. Like they're just genuinely thrilled to be there, and they're just so excited. And I really, really hope that next season brings a lot for them.
Yes, 100%. They will be back with a vengeance, in my opinion. So the final match of the first round was Valkyrie versus Ominous. And I mean, I think most of us had a pretty good idea of how this match was going to go. Nothing against Ominous. It is one of, like I've said this before, one of the prettiest robots I've ever seen. It is gorgeous. And I think if they work on that robot and can figure out a way to get it dialed in, it's going to be great. But obviously, like, you know, they have their struggles and, you know, Valkyrie, even though it's a pretty much new team for the most part, it's still a robot that's been around for a long time and has been very effective in the past. Again, even though they also didn't have like necessarily the best season, but you know, I kind of knew it was going to be pretty much all Valkyrie, and they were able to make pretty quick work of Ominous.
Yeah, it was cool to see Ominous come out with that huge front plow. Like, okay, and I saw that and I was like, all right, maybe they have a chance. Like, this is good. Like, adoption, like, perfect. And then Lucy just chewed into the entire bottom inch of that whole wedge. And like it started black, and by the end of it, you could just see down to the metal. And I was like, okay, well, that didn't work out as planned. I mean, it did to a point because it was able to stop, and there wasn't a ton of huge kinetic hits until like that one final one at the end, but they still delivered so much power and so much damage. Like there was that undercutter was spinning, it was not stopping, and poor Omnis just took all the hits in that. And yeah, it's one of the most beautiful robots ever. It's so cool. Like, obviously, like everything that they've done with the drive and like just the way that it moves around the box. Like, I know JCRB posted like the sickest photo this week of Omnis just like translating across the box. And so it's like you're like, oh, you get so excited about robots like that. But Valkyrie absolutely dialed in, like figured it out. Like, Lucy took it to them and she started to like tell people like, all right, I'm here, guys, pay attention.
Yes, for sure. So going back to Shreddit Bro, versus Switchback. So, you know, again, like it's one of those things that unless you were there, you don't really know how it's going to go because you know, Switchback's been much better this past season. And with that like kind of overhead type of weapon that can come down, I mean, you never know what that's going to do. And Evan just kind of continued his like streak of domination and just went at them. I mean, like just relentless the entire time. I truly appreciate the Switchback. I feel like always has something creative on the bottom of the robot, like just something funny, and just, you know, it flipped over and you just see bruh. I thought that was kind of like perfect for this match. Yeah, I mean, like Shreddit Bro dominated. It just looked fantastic in this, and you know, more of the same from the first match.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like so just happy. Like, there's no like greater joy than being able to see like your friends like work so hard and finally like get the success that you know that they deserve. And like, I'm sorry that it was at the hands of Switchback. Not really, but like obviously like those are my bros, like, right? Like, so it was so cool to see Evan just come right out of the box, like basically clip that back plate and was just like, nope, you don't need armor. Nope, goodbye. Oh, sorry. Like, we're going to take it to you. We're going to pop you up. We're going to send you across the box. Like, this weapon is spinning and this weapon is spinning exact. That weapon weighs 60 pounds. That's 2/3 of my body weight, people. Like, what? And it was spinning exactly how it's supposed to be spinning. And so, like, yep, I'm so proud. I have no other words. Like, I loved it. I loved to see it.
Yes, that is definitely true. Now Valkyrie versus Rotator, which ended up being named the fight of the week. Yeah, I mean, like you knew that it was going to be. I mean, they both have very powerful horizontal discs, and like it just going back and forth, lots of sparks happening. I mean, like I said, I think it was kind of what everybody expected. And Valkyrie ended up victorious at the end of that. You know, tough for Victor to lose that one, because I think for a while it was very back and forth. But I mean, just a really great fight between two horizontals.
Oh yeah, this match was absolutely incredible. I was texting one of my friends and I was like, okay, like I knew this match was going to be good, but like this is so good. There was so much back and forth. Like they were both delivering hits to each other, just like really showing the true power and the true everything like they've worked on. Like, if that's how you're going to go out, like that's a match to go out on, because both robots just looked so good. It was down to it. Like in the middle of the match, I was like, I don't know which way this is going to go. Like this could go either way. And it was just so good. And both teams did amazing.
Yes, they did. And this really set up for, you know, I mean, like it's not technically, because Valkyrie's not exactly the same robot, but really it's an all NHRL final. I mean, you basically have Shreddit Bro versus Kablooey Tango in a way. So it, you know, I mean, I think that's kind of the way this season has gone, right? You know, there's been so much like NHRL representation and teams that have done well and gone far in these tournament areas. And you'd love to see it, because I mean, it just proves that is such a like place with so much talent, and people that can do this at the higher levels.
Yeah, when I was at the Maker Battle in July, I saw Jonathan Schultz again, and I was like, and I when I had seen him in April, he hadn't, you know, been the runner up yet. And so like when I saw him in July, I was like, Jonathan, I was like, that's like really hard. Like, how did you just like keep that quiet? And he goes, it was ridiculous. I was like, I can't like, but like yes, like everybody that we interact with, like basically everybody that we just saw last weekend, like they're here, they're in the finals, they're showing up, and like we are so lucky to be able to call those people like our friends and to compete against them and just like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yes, I completely agree. I definitely can tell you a couple of years ago, I never thought that I would be in the thick of like all of these people that I have so much admiration for, that are just doing amazing things that, you know, I couldn't even fathom. I mean, this was certainly an interesting match because you would think with a robot like Shreddit Bro, I mean, it's not known for being a control bot by any means, but when you lose your weapon, it doesn't matter what kind of a bot you are, you kind of have to become a control bot in that moment. And Evan was able to pivot, like he didn't panic, you know, like, oh my gosh, I don't have a weapon, what do I do? He just did the only thing he could do, which was try and push Valkyrie around, and won that match simply by pushing Valkyrie around, and like eventually Valkyrie just stopped moving. I mean, it shows that like you have to have that mindset of, okay, this was my plan. This plan isn't going to work, so I now have to pivot and go with this other plan because that's what I have. And he was able to do that, and I was so like, I mean, to me, you know, maybe there's some people that don't see that, but to me, I've always thought of Evan as a really smart builder and driver, and to kind of see that in action with him being able to accomplish that in that way was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been one of the strongest drivers like in the field because he has the ability to adapt and turn on a dime and realize exactly what he needs to do. Like, you know, and that's why too, like when we're at Norwalk, there's so many people that Evan stands cage side with, and it's for that reason because those people want to learn, and they in that moment like want to be taught like, what do I do? Like, how do I react? Like, what is the best case scenario for me right now? And Evan, Corey, like they continue like always to deliver that. And it's so impressive that like it's just like, I don't know, it's just like such something to like be like like that's admirable about him, and like why people look up to him as a driver in the sport. And like to be able to have your weapon and then like just to lose it and just be like, okay, well, what do I have to do? Well, I have to essentially use them against themselves and get them to die. And that's exactly what he did. And like Valkyrie lasted a really, really long time. And Evan continued to just deliver that and was just like, no, I'm not letting up. Like, I'm going to drive them across the box. And like, good on Shreddit Bro for being a little tank and just being like, okay, Valkyrie, bye. Like, see ya. I'm going to control this. And that's where my strength in driving is. Like, his team is behind him and they are there and they made that robot work. But in that moment, as a driver, he knew exactly what he needed to do. And it's just so incredible to watch and see. And like, they deserve to go 3-0 in this episode because of everything that they accomplished.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, it's a belief that I've had for a long time with combat robotics is that your weapon is not the only weapon that you have, because if it goes down, then you know you don't want to be in a position where you can't do anything. So you have to think about all of the other tools at your disposal, and just the ability to drive and, you know, push someone around is something that I think is important to know how to do, just in these situations. And I think that it was great. I mean, I don't think Valkyrie has anything to feel bad about. You know, I think it was a really good, hard fought match. And sometimes it's just the whole things go wrong with your robot, and, you know, sometimes you really can't do much about it. And, you know, that's kind of what happened for them. I mean, it just wasn't working properly in the end. And Shreddit Bro 100% deserve to win this. I mean, I could not be happier for every single person on that team. After everything this season, like they deserved it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, hats off to Lucy, because like watching her progress as a driver this season, like even into that last match, like she knew what she had to do and she was trying so hard, but like obviously like Shreddit Bro just ended up being the more powerful robot in this case, but like she grew so much as a driver, and it was really cool to see. Like by the end you were just like, all right, like good job. Like that's impressive. Like you took it all the way to the end, you took it all the way through the Golden Bowl. Like you almost got there. So I can only imagine what's going to happen for them next season.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I could think of one word for this episode above any, to me, it's validation. Like it really is just like validation that all of the work that was put in was not for nothing. You know, I think that there were people that proved that they can do more than they were given credit for. So I really hope to continue to see more of that in these Golden Bolt matches, because I mean, honestly, when we're looking back to like last year's, I think we saw more surprises from people than maybe we did even in the regular season, and I think that's an amazing thing, because you know, as we all know, combat robotics, everybody talks about it as a game of rock, paper, scissors. And to an extent, that's true. But I love seeing something that surprises me and like makes me feel energized because it's not what I expected. So I think the more that we see that, the more like it will draw people in and say, oh, like this isn't predictable in any way. You know, it's exciting to kind of not know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait to see what the next like 4 to 5 weeks has in store, because like these matches, like I was only there for essentially the first day of Golden Bolt, really. So there's a lot I don't know still. So I'm excited to see like how it all plays out. Like I knew Shreddit got that first win, but other than that, like I was like on the edge of my seat, like hopping up and down, like yes, because it was the first time I had seen all of it. So I'm so ready to see like where this is going.
Yes. Well, I was there for all of it. Well, I mean, like the end part of it. So I know how it plays out. And it definitely is going to be exciting. I think everybody's going to be just really thrilled with a lot of this stuff that they're going to see. Oh, and last thing to touch on actually is because they did the awards for the year at the end of the episode. And, you know, like, so one thing that I think it seemed like maybe fans didn't know is that the builders vote on who wins these awards. It's not like production decides who wins or anything like that. It's the builders. And so, you know, knowing that the builders chose these winners is more like, you know, that like it came from a place of like understanding and like really thought, because they're all in this together and stuff. So I mean, I think that they were all really good choices. You know, I think the one that was highly debated is, you know, people saying that Huge shouldn't have won most destructive. And I think Zach Lytle put it best, that when you look at the whole season and everything that happened, Copperhead beat Riptide and Huge beat Copperhead. So when you look at that and you look at the body of work that Huge put together, including, do not forget that match against Witch Doctor, because I am telling you, I have never seen Witch Doctor dismantled like that before. So I mean, I don't know how anyone can say Huge should not be in that conversation for most destructive.
Yeah, I wish I was at home because I have a beautiful piece of Star Child from its fight against Huge, and luckily both teams have signed it because I'm so generous and like I'm so lucky to be able to be in a space with all of them. I showed up at NHRL and they all signed it. So it's at home, but it's a mangled piece of Star Child, and Huge 100% deserves that. And big obviously shout out to Ripperoni for their award as well, because that is so well deserved.
Yes, I thought that was great to see Ripperoni win that. And also special shout out too to Martin Mason for winning that. I mean, people don't understand. I think that, you know, people watch BattleBots and they just see him as like some crazy guy on TV, like yelling and doing the Macho Man Randy Savage thing or whatever. But he is such a good guy and such a pillar within the community. I mean, he's so like helpful to people and does so much. I mean, you know, I can speak from my time when I was there that I, you know, went to say hi to him when I was in the pits, and he was like, who haven't you talked to? Let me take you around and like talk to these people and stuff like that. I mean, such a freaking good guy. So, you know, for anybody that thinks any of these teams or people didn't deserve the awards, and Rory, let's not freaking forget Rory for Monsoon, who like literally saved like so many teams. So, I mean, these people are all very deserving of those awards, 100%.
Yeah, these guys work so hard for weeks on end. Like, absolutely. They put months and months of design and work and effort into everything that they do, and they all show up, and they are just a big community of builders for 3+ weeks. Like, it's a long time. And so they know the ins and outs of everything, and everybody knows what's going on. Like, we all love each other. We all talk to each other. Like, and so every builder that votes for another builder, it's because they know their story. It's because they know what they've been through. So like every single award that's given out is 100% deserved.
Yes. So that's taken care of. We have, I think, 4 more weeks of these like little smaller tournaments to see who gets into that final Golden Bolt tournament. It will be interesting to see. Personally, for next week, I mean, I'll say this objectively without knowing like what's going to happen. My money would be on Whiplash, but or Malice. I mean, like freaking Malice showed up, you know, against Minotaur. To be honest, so like you never know what's going to happen. Lots of exciting fights in store. So just, you know, I can't wait to watch it all play out. And I mean, I don't know, Ashley, if there's anything in particular that you're looking forward to.
No, I think I'm just ready to see like the rest of it. I just want to know, like, let's go.
Yep. Yeah, I think the biggest question on everyone's mind is going to be, you know, because last year, I think, you know, everybody was like, okay, is that going to happen? Can Jameson Go also win the Golden Bolt and have both, you know, both things? Because no one has both the Golden Bolt and the Giant Nut. So can JMO do it? Well, it remains to be seen.
I wouldn't be shocked.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, for everybody that's watching, please make sure that you keep tuning in, you know, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I know it's like about a month or so away. Watch the NHRL finals. It is going to be insane. Prep yourself, clear the day. You need to watch it.
November 11th, don't do anything. Clear your schedules. Get your YouTube up. Like, let's go. We should do an episode.
Exactly. But for everybody who's watching, just, you know, keep tuning in, and we'll see everyone next time on the show.